Have you ever felt that you needed to say no, protect yourself, but you didn't? And then you were left with that bitter feeling, as if you betrayed yourself. I read the Bluebeard chapter in the book called Women Who Run with the Wolves, and I was stunned at how precisely it describes so many situations that happened in my life, and how I wish I'd known this sooner. I didn't just read the book, I also joined a book club where a psychologist went through every chapter and explained it. And oh my god, I think that every girl and every woman should know this. In this video, I'll talk about why and when being too much of a good girl can be dangerous, and why the cost of it can be your energy, boundaries, and even your self-worth. And maybe you'll be surprised at how much this old fairy tale reflects situations that happen to us right today. After this video, you will have 3 simple tools that you can use to learn to recognize predators, both external ones and those living inside us, and to listen to your intuition so that you don't betray yourself again. This video is divided into 3 parts. First, I'll introduce you to the symbols that are important for us and briefly tell the story. In the second part, we'll draw the main conclusions from the story, what it teaches us. And in the third part, we'll move into practice, how you can begin the path of knowing your intuition and how to understand that you need to get out of the situation. Chapter number 1. Symbols and story. Let me quickly tell you the fairy tale. It will take just a minute, but before that, I want to point out a few symbols so that you know what to notice. The first symbol is Bluebeard. It's both external and internal predator. The youngest sister or the wife is the naive woman because of her age or lack of experience. The third symbol is the forbidden room. It's the knowledge that we don't want to open, but we must. And the last one is the key. It's our intuition and the permission to know the truth. So let's get to the story. Bluebeard proposed to 3 sisters. At first, they refused. His beard seemed so strange and frightening. But over time, the youngest agreed because she kept convincing herself that he was kind and generous. And he began to seem less scary and his beard not quite so blue. After the wedding, he left and gave his wife all the keys to the castle, forbidding her to open just one room. Her sisters persuaded her to look inside, and curiosity won. She opened the door and found the bodies of his former wives. She dropped the key and it was stained with blood. The wife tried to hide the key to wipe off the blood, as if nothing had happened, but the key kept bleeding. When Bluebeard returned, he immediately discovered it and said that he would kill her. She began stalling and asking to say goodbye to her family. She went upstairs and asked her sisters to bring her brothers. And at the very last moment, her brothers came and killed the Bluebeard. Chapter number 2. What this story really means. As I already said, Bluebeard is both external and internal predator. Externally, sometimes we meet these dazzling predators. They can be ideas, people, or opportunities. On the surface, they shine. Promises, gifts, charm. But behind the glitter, there's always a mask and probably a knife. And too often, we fall for the glitter. Life isn't all safe and sweet. The world is not always kind and it's not perfect. It's mixed, full of light and shadow. And in order to live in it, we need to know how to protect ourselves. When it's safe to be relaxed and soft, and when it's dangerous and we need to fight back. I myself have many times found myself in situations where I sensed something was wrong, but I couldn't say no, most often because I used to be the good girl, wanting everyone to like me. And I know too many girls and women who also always want to be good for everyone. Spoiler, first, it's impossible. Second, it actually can be dangerous. If we don't learn to say no or be bad, we risk becoming someone's prey. Yet most of us were raised to be nice and polite. I really loved a quote from the book. Imagine a mother wolf teaching her cub to be sweet and submissive in front of a predator. Absurd, right? When we feel that subtle warning inside us, we are at the crossroad. We can either listen to ourselves, protect our boundaries, and risk someone's disapproval, or we can please everyone and betray ourselves. The choice may be hard, but it's clear. For me, one of the strongest examples was friendship that lasted for several years. I always felt those little warning signs, and my intuition kept whispering, this isn't the person to trust. But I ignored it. I told myself, like, what's the worst that could happen? Until one day the betrayal became obvious. Lies, disrespect, being treated as if I didn't matter. It hurt, and I wasted years on this friendship. That was my breaking point when I finally allowed myself to be bad. But ideally, we shouldn't wait until someone does something obviously terrible. A person does not necessarily have to do something bad for you to stop communicating with them. I know to some of you that may sound wild, but let's make it clear again. A person does not necessarily have to do something bad for you to stop communicating with them. We can choose to leave simply because our heart says so. And the earlier we do that, the better. Because if we keep ignoring small signs, life will throw bigger and harsher ones at us until we finally wake up. Often, our inner voice already knows, but we choose not to listen because it shatters our sweet illusions about the perfect world. The longer we ignore that voice, the more our true self dies inside. That's what the story teaches us. We need the courage to open that forbidden door, to look inside at the darkest corners of ourselves and our lives, and to admit what's there. Once the key is stained, we can't unsee the truth, and we can't keep pretending anymore. Here are the 4 steps that we need to take to protect ourselves. First one, open up to your intuition and allow curiosity. Allow curiosity to even start wanting to open the door. Second step, open the door and admit what you find there. Don't run away. The third one, tell yourself the full truth without any excuses or compromises. And the last one, take action. Make the choice that you've been avoiding for so long. And I want to close this chapter with 2 beautiful quotes from the book. If we keep nurturing this inner ability, we stop being victims of both internal and external circumstances. And it is vital to learn when not to be the nice girl in order to protect your soul. Chapter number 3, practices. To dig down to truth and opening your intuition, we need to answer and sometimes keep answering following 4 questions. Question number 1, what hides behind the obvious? What is not what it seems? Sometimes we only see the surface picture. Someone seems kind, situation looks safe, promise sounds beautiful. Look at the situation that concerns you from 2 perspectives. What's on the surface and what's hiding underneath. For example, someone says, I care about you. That's why I need to know where you are and who you're with. On the surface, it's care, but inside, it's control and restriction of freedom. Or someone says, never mind, I'm just joking. But behind that might be aggression or desire to humiliate. Question number 2. What do I know deep inside but prefer not to admit? This question helps you reclaim trust in your inner knowing. Try to remember moments when you had a warning bell but ignored it. For example, you notice that after seeing someone, you feel drained. Inside you know, I feel bad around them, but you keep telling yourself, they're just tired, I should understand. Or for example, you know that certain relationship is dead, but you continue it because it's easier than breaking up. Or the last example, you know a job is destroying you, but you tell yourself it will get better later. Question number 3, what part of me is dead or dying? Sometimes we reject parts of ourselves, courage, sensuality, dreams, anger, because that's not allowed, or others will disapprove. Ask yourself, what in me I've not shown for a long time, what once was alive but now forgotten. For example, you loved singing but stopped because someone said, "Oh, you don't have a good ear." Question number 4. In what situations do I betray myself by saying yes instead of saying no? Here you can notice where you do things you don't want to, out of fear of being rejected, hurting someone, or looking bad. Here the example can be that a friend asks you out and you go even though you don't want to and you want to stay home and read. And you do this just because you want to avoid hurting her feelings. So, how to work with these questions? First, don't try to answer right. There's no right answer. It isn't a test. It's about honesty with yourself. Second, you can write down this in your journal without filtering, and you can return to this question in a week, in a month, in a year, and see how your answers can change. The next practice is called red flags. Close your eyes and recall the moment when you felt uneasy but kept going into a call, conversation, a relationship. Rewind the memory like a movie. What small signs did you ignore? Maybe it was a strange tone, a forced smile, or an uneasy feeling in your body, maybe in your stomach, and write them all down. This practice trains you to notice and trust your intuition before it's too late. And the last practice is my favorite, and it's called dark sides. Take a sheet of paper and write down all bad qualities that you are usually trying to hide. And think about why those qualities actually might be good for you and your life. Where can they give you energy? Where can they protect you? And what qualities, so to speak, need to be disarmed? What actions do I take to transform such a quality? Here are some examples. The first one is envy. Envy eats you from inside. It causes comparison and a sense of not being enough. But at the same time, it can be your compass that shows what you truly want. So envy must be translated into action. Don't stop at "she has this, I don't." Ask yourself, what can I do to achieve this? And take action. Otherwise, this feeling can destroy you. The very good example here can be anger. If suppressed, it turns into raging outbursts or bitterness or chronic disconnect with yourself and others. But the good side is that anger actually is a vibrant energy. It tells you, enough. This is not who I want to be. It gives you the courage to leave or to stand up. So don't stay stuck in anger, but channel it into action. Say no, leave, have that conversation, or just change something. Then anger doesn't destroy, it protects. Many qualities that we think of as bad are actually our defense, especially aggression. Aggression is not about attacking or destroying. Aggression means having the strength to say no, to set a boundary, to walk away before someone devours you. In the Bluebeard story, if the woman always stays sweet and never allows the internal beast to rise, the predator has full access. Only when she permits herself anger, strength, aggression, then she has a chance to survive. To get away from a predator, sometimes you have to become one yourself. I know it can be a difficult situation. Doing nothing can feel bad, but doing something might feel wrong or scary. And still you must decide, make a choice, be aggressive. And it's good when after those kind of situations, a woman becomes stronger with new abilities. After such moments, she learns to see the predator a little earlier next time. I hope these questions and exercises help you look more deeply into yourself, to get closer to your intuition. And if you ever meet a predator, inside or outside, you will be able to notice it in advance and neutralize it. Let's keep making small changes that lead to big transformations together.